Rejoice if it's welcome to It's Brewing. My name is Tisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Throughout history, men have traditionally supported their families, but our next guest says, get ready for the big flip.
This Monday says women will take over as breadwinners in the decades to come. So what's the consequence of this?
Well, I think the consequences in the long term are going to be good. I think there's no question for women that earning more in their relationships gives them more power and more bargaining power, as the economists say, in their relationships. Men are doing more housework than they ever have. And I think the consequence...
Say that part again.
Men are doing more housework than they ever have. They really are.
Yes.
And for men also, there are going to be more options, more flexibility in life in terms of life choices, less pressure, hopefully, to take a job that they don't want to simply in order to support a family.
I make the money, and so I make the rules. We've got a therapist here who says that he's hearing more and more wives telling their husbands that, and he's really disappointed. He goes into this story about how we've really progressed from the 50s and the early 60s for men who were tyrannical in their households and would remind their wives that they paid the bills, and so those women had to listen to him. Now, what I find interesting about his video is he says, where's the progress? If more women are going to make more money and all they're going to do is pretty much act like dictators or flex their earning potential within their homes, then we haven't truly made progress. Here we go.
I've noticed a very disturbing trend happening in marriages and relationships, and I want to bring it into the light because sunlight is the very best disinfectant. Now, everything I'm about to say is just an observation. This is not a condemnation of anyone at all. I will give you my opinion at the end, but let me give you the observation first. In the 40s, in the 50s, maybe even a little bit into the early 60s, we had very head of the household, a man's home is his castle, almost chauvinistic, I think what we would call today the patriarchy.
Right.
Well, I'm the man of the house, and what I say goes. I'm putting my foot down. Well, I make the money, and you'll drive whatever car I give you and be happy about it. And this was a position of extreme power because women were not allowed to open bank accounts. Women really weren't allowed to work a whole lot. A lot of men were like, no wife of mine's working. Women weren't allowed to apply for credit cards, so on and so on. And in general, the agreement was that this was not good for our country, that we needed to have a societal shift to kind of weed that sort of, I'm the man, I'm the head of the household, I'm in this power position. We needed to kind of weed that out.
Okay.
That's why you don't see it as much today. In the last 90 days, I have heard 2 women say, well, I make the money, so I'm going to tell you how it's going to go around here. Well, I make more money than you, so I'm going to make these decisions. What is this starting to sound like? Today, more women are graduating from college than men. Women get preferential college acceptance. They get preferential hiring. They get preferential promotions at work. They are in sort of that more powerful position, sort of the men of the 40s and 50s and kind of early 60s.
Okay.
And the disturbing thing that I'm seeing is they're starting to fall into that same trap. They're starting to take on those sort of chauvinistic position of power. I'm the head of this thing. I'm the powerful one here, so I'll make these decisions.
Is that really surprising, though? This is a controversial opinion. I think in most cases, whoever has the money has the power. In most cases, whoever has the money has the power. I think there's actually a quote. Doesn't go anything like I just said, but there's a quote like that by some type of entrepreneur. I don't know if it's the Rockefellers or something like that. Let me ask our AI assistant here. Miss Coffee, what's the one quote about give me the money and I don't care about power or government role or something like that?
The quote you are referring to is likely attributed to Mayor Amschel Rothschild. Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. This quote is often cited to illustrate the immense power and influence that control over a nation's currency can confer.
Okay, control over a nation's currency, control over a household's financial currency. I mean, can somebody make the majority of money within a household, like let's say a wife, and her not actually control that household? I believe that's definitely possible, but it takes extreme deliberate effort You have to be humble. You have to not, you have to actively work to fight that temptation within you, because if you have money, you have power, right? Power comes with its own temptations. And then we can go into the conversation later on about who's most comfortable in a position of being a breadwinner, a woman or a man. Let's keep listening to what he had to say, though.
Now that I've kind of given you the observation, let me give you my opinion on it. It was wrong when men did it. It was wrong when men did it. And that is why we saw the societal shift to get away from it. It's going to be just as wrong when women start to do it. Trying to manipulate someone from a position of power like that, trying to be the tyrannical sort of, I don't know, the dictator of the home, is a marriage killer. It's a relationship killer. Now, I've only seen this twice in the last 90, but it is in the last 90 days. I've seen it twice. And I want to bring it into the light as quickly as possible, because if we can get this conversation started, maybe we can kind of stave off some of the destruction of the family that kind of happened in the 70s and 80s. Don't know what I'm talking about? Go look and see what happened to the divorce rate in the 80s.
All right, so you guys can check my description for the link to that video. I do want to add more to what he had to say right there. I don't think there's anything wrong with a man being the head of the household, obviously so. And there are plenty of women out here who are looking for a man who wants to be the head of the household. Now, the question here for me is, who's more likely between a man or a woman to be frustrated about the fact that they are in that breadwinner scenario? Who would be a more fair judge, and who would be more ruthless? My controversial opinion is, if a woman's usually in that breadwinner role and she does not want to be, she will be a worse version of a man in that role who is struggling and trying to figure out how to handle that position, right? Listen, you can try to blame this on societal norms and whatever you may try to conjure up. But a wise man once said, pressure was made for shoulders, not hips. Shoulders, not hips. Let's check out some of these comments, see what other people had to say. Of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Top comment here says, I agree with you, sir. I believe it's social media. A lot of women are being told a lot of things that are not healthy. Here's somebody else who says, my wife makes more than me and acts like this, but she is also upset that I don't make more than her, because that's what she grew up with. I think it's worse. So this guy's in the position that the guy was pretty much talking about, where he has a wife who out earns him. And he says it's worse because she's really upset that he doesn't out earn her. You don't hear men in situations where they're the breadwinner complaining that they are the breadwinner. But you definitely see a lot of women complaining. I remember seeing a study a while back that says CEOs who get a bonus and they move up within the company and they're female are more likely to initiate divorce than their male counterparts. Here's somebody else who says, it's inevitable. My wife has decided she's going back to school to make more money. I feel it's only a matter of time until she leaves me behind. Now, I don't know this guy's specific situation, but I think a lot of guys think about this, right? Like, what can I do to compete with my woman when she may be more ambitious than I am? And, the thing is, like, someone like this, let's say he's not suffering any type of like medical situation that's not physically keeping him from going out and competing and making more money. I'll just encourage him that, bro, there's really nothing else that you can do than get out there and try to make more money. I don't know what else to tell a guy like this. I mean, there are other ways you can improve and bring value to the relationship. Because here's the thing. Here's what's not going to happen. Female nature is never going to change. Hypergamy is not going to change. I don't know what to tell you. That's the coffee, right?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Another person here says, I have noticed the shift too. It is concerning. So this is a woman here talking about how she's noticing more women who are flexing their high earning jobs, their income, and such. Somebody else here says, with great power comes great responsibility. As always, guys, I'm curious to know, what do you think? Leave your comments and thoughts down below. I appreciate you as always for checking out another episode of What's Brewing. Peace.